Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Wars Battlefront Part 2. This time around we have aggressive negotiations on Kashyyyk, because you know those Wookiees don't seem to like paying their taxes either. Let's go and give Chewbacca the old hot foot, and we'll, maybe we could get something out of this too, I don't know, probably get their taxes that they owe us. That's of course what they owe us is the taxes, right? Because we're the Trade Federation. It's our job to take taxes from people. And this time around, we have the spiffy new super battle droids that look really, shiny and new because they're brand new. And the Wookiees are, just Wookiees. They're really some of the fiercest warriors in the entire galaxy. But they're no match for our new droid army. Look at that, already 2 of them down. And we're doing strong as an army because we're the Trade Federation. We're the most fearsome villains in the galaxy. We're supposed to be able to rule over anything that opposes us. And so, same thing as always, we just have to go and destroy their forces, and of course take over their command posts, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? Because we're the Trade Federation. That's exactly what any good Trade Federation should do. And so these Wookiees are actually losing to us pretty good. They have a lot of garrison, but we have the upper hand too, because I actually have a brain, as I kept saying in the previous video, and they do not. They just mindlessly walk around and let themselves get shot and killed, and because I wonder how they survive as a species if they're actually like that. I wonder how do a lot of species survive in Star Wars? They're really that dumb. Then again, Luke Skywalker was kind of an idiot. And he managed to blow up the Death Star, so he managed to do a lot more stuff too, so I guess it is possible to be dumb in the Star Wars universe and somehow still miraculously survive more than a movie. And then there's some of you that seem to be kind of smart, like Qui-Gon Jinn, but they usually die after one movie or something like that. And so, of course, it is our standard Star Wars action. I realized how much action there was like that in Star Wars. It's like, pew, 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 pew. There's a lot of that in Star Wars. No wonder why people like fun of Star Wars. Because Star Wars pretty much is the #1 most made fun of franchise ever. It's like one of the most famous, quoted franchises ever. Almost everything made fun of Star Wars at some point or another. It's such a popular franchise, so I guess it makes sense. It probably is the most popular sci-fi franchise that could ever exist. So it's like, so surprised there's so many games, books, movies, shows, and stuff like that of it. It's also really rich in games. I sometimes think Star Wars is secretly made so it could be a game. I've been playing on my Raspberry Pi a lot lately. It's a little small computer on a single circuit board. It's Raspberry Pi 400 to be more exact. It's an emulation beast. It can emulate so many cool classic games. It can't do PS2 because PS2 is kind of beyond the scope of what its graphical capabilities can handle. But it could play the old classics, a lot of classic PS1, PSP, Sega Dreamcast, arcade. It could play all those greats. And I managed to get it to play the Star Wars arcade game from 1983. Now I got the arcade version of that Star Wars arcade game, so I don't really need to play the Atari 2600 version or the ColecoVision version anymore. Well, I play those and you have the arcade, because games like that were very primitive back then, and the video game systems were not as good as the arcades. Those are really for if you wanted to play the game, but you still can't go to the arcade, so you play at home. It's really an alternative to going to the arcade, but you can have the real thing at home. What's the point in playing the Atari version? You could have the real thing at home, right? And this game kind of did take some inspiration from that Star Wars arcade game. It's very similar in which you just point a crosshair around, you shoot at stuff, and you're trying to defend yourself from getting killed. There actually is a lot of Star Wars arcade game that can be seen being present in this game. It's actually quite uncanny actually how similar they are. And I've managed to play a lot of other arcade games on the Raspberry Pi too, such as the X-Men arcade game, the Simpsons arcade games, some arcade games that never really came out on other systems. So we're taking over this command post. A lot of the troops in this game don't seem to like taking over command posts. That's because, as I said before, I'm the only one that's actually smart. I'm the only one that's actually trying to do something useful. All my other troops, and look at that. I just lost the status in that thing. That thing must have just, they must have got some more Wookiee troops come by here. I wonder how Wookiees invented such. They seem like such a primitive species, yet they have high-tech weapons. Then again, I said the same thing about those cartoon rabbits in the other video. I wonder how they did that. I wonder how primitive civilizations in Star Wars are capable of inventing such high-tech weapons. I wonder how Star Wars even became so high-tech in the first place. There are some questions I still to this day ask myself about Star Wars. And Star Wars is very unrealistic in that sense. They can just fly from one end of the galaxy to another in a matter of minutes. It just seems nuts. There's just something kind of unreal about it. But Star Wars, it's not supposed to be real. There's nothing supposed to be realistic about Star Wars. As you can see, we're just about to win by one of the biggest landslides I've ever done. I still have 112 troops, and they have pretty much none. Yup. We won this one already. We have this one in the bag. Victory for us. Why am I not surprised? I pretty much always win at this game every time. I always play this game on difficulty normal. So I play this game on hard for some reason. Like, hard mode is actually hard. Okay, now you're probably gonna dare me to play this game on hard mode. Well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. For some reason now, they make us defect to the other side now. We were the Trade Federation Separatists, and now they defected us to the Republic. So now we're going to be fighting for the Republic, the other side, and we're going against the comrades we served as once before. That's how it is in real life. You know, a lot of time people switch sides. It may have been one thing at one point in time, but you switch your affiliation to another team. This is one of the only, this Geonosis level, this is the Separatist Strongholds, one of the hardest levels in the game because the Separatists own this level. But the interesting thing is, this is actually one of the few levels in the game that actually has a specific objective. It's something more than just simply, okay, maybe not the only level in the game, but it's one of the few levels in the game that has a specific objective, other than just simply mindlessly going and killing your enemies. It actually involves a tactical strategy. There's just Techno-Union ships you have to find. You have to destroy the Techno-Union ships, and then they won't be able to produce as many troops, and then they'll be screwed pretty much, and then we can win. I'm just shooting my green lasers around. As I said before, green lasers are more powerful than red lasers. You see they have droidicas spawned over there. Those are no match for my green lasers, but I think our GI units have them in the bag. So I'm just kind of walking around and waltzing around. It's really slow. It's slower than the solar-powered car. I don't know, maybe it's about the same speed as a solar-powered car. I know solar-powered cars are pretty slow, I remember. I'm a solar-powered car! I don't go very fast, you know, it's kind of like that. And look at that, they're using bazookas on me. There's this purple space bazookas on me. I'm just shooting at them now. I think I must have killed a few of them by now, I don't know. And my shielding is kind of getting kind of weak right now. Oh look, they're about to destroy me. Those things must be pretty weak if they can be destroyed by a couple bazookas and droids. So now we're being the heroes now. We're actually going against the bad guys this time around, the baddies, if you want to call them that. And what's worse is they have those Geonosians, those little termite things flying around. They shoot those sonic weapons. They do a crap load of damage on you. They mess up your organs. They pretty much warp your organ structures and everything like that. What's worse is they don't count as garrison. They have an unlimited amount of them. They don't count as garrison. So when you kill them, it doesn't do anything to your team. But despite that, we do have Mace Windu on our side. Mace Windu's really good at fighting these guys down. Mace Windu's one of the coolest things that came out of Star Wars prequels. I strongly disagreed with Mr. Plinkett when he said Mace Windu is useless. Mace Windu isn't useless. He's one of the greatest things from the Star Wars prequels. I do agree that Morgan Freeman may have been a better actor for Mace Windu than Samuel L. Jackson. So speaking old, reserved master, it's like, oh, we must do the right thing, or we must do like what is, you know, I guess like a sense of wisdom. But the thing is, Samuel L. Jackson isn't that kind of guy that has that sense of wisdom. He's like the guy that says, freeze, freeze. You know, he's the guy who calls people mother rappers and tells them he tries to fight them. He's not the kind of guy you'd expect to be playing an old master. I still think Morgan Freeman or Forrest Whitaker may have been more suitable for that role rather than Samuel L. Jackson. And there are notes. He doesn't call people mother rappers in this movie. Well, that's because the movie is rated PG, so there doesn't say mother rapper in it, obviously. Even if it was PG-13, they still wouldn't say that. It's Star Wars. They don't really swear much in Star Wars. Star Wars is a mostly family-friendly franchise. Sure, it has a dark, violent side to it, but for the most part, there's not anything overly violent or overly, you know, it's like, it's nothing really overly violent or overly, like, if you're, I mean, unless you're, like, overly sensitive to violence. I mean, I noticed a few adults that, in my time, actually were overly sensitive to the violence in Star Wars movies to a point where they feel like throwing up over these movies, or I think you should never talk about Star Wars at a dinner thing, because it's considered to, I don't know, to turn off your appetite, which I never heard of anyone other than them that had their appetites turned off by Star Wars. I didn't see a few graphical glitches. That's due to my emulator, because like I said before, I'm playing this on the EPSX, sorry, not EPSX, yes, the PS1 emulator, sorry. I don't even use EPSXE much anymore. I'm using RetroArch a lot lately. It's called PCSX2. It's a PS2 emulator for Windows 10. It actually works on Windows Vista or newer. But I don't know. I don't have any computers that run Windows Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8, so I have no way of confirming if it actually works in those versions of Windows. But it works on Windows 10, which is what pretty much everyone uses these days. And then there's also that thing called Windows 11. I've been getting pestered with upgrades for that for a while now. I always ignore them. I don't trust Windows 11 yet. I don't know, maybe in the future, if it's better in the future, maybe I will. Speaking of which, I'm actually using a new computer right now that I actually got last August. I think this is one of the first times I actually mentioned this new computer of mine. Because my Alienware that I used to use before is no more now, because its battery started to fail on me. So now I have this new HP laptop computer, which is actually working pretty good. It's actually a lot better than my Alienware, so... And it's really good at running these games, it's mostly emulator games. It's still pretty good at playing these games and doing the computing stuff. It did have a major serious failure the other week, where it stopped reading USB memory sticks and had to get Best Buy's Geek Squad to come and fix it for me, which doesn't really make any sense why I would stop reading USB memory sticks. That's been pretty much a standard thing since Windows 2000, but then again, it worked on the Raspberry Pi, which is one of the few times my Raspberry Pi actually did something better than my Windows PC. That Raspberry Pi of mine keeps getting more and more impressive all the time. I definitely will make videos of my Raspberry Pi eventually. So right now, as you see, I'm targeting that Techno Union chip. I'm just going to keep shooting at the Techno Union chip and see if it's going to... It's still too far away, I think, for it to actually register anything. I can't zoom in closer or something like that. I don't even know if my shots are actually doing anything. I'm not shooting stuff without any feedback. Because it's like when you're on the internet somewhere. It's like when you're on the internet somewhere, and then you keep clicking on something, and it's not responding, or it's not reacting to anything you do, so then you keep pressing again and again. But only this time, I think I actually destroyed that Techno Union ship. That Techno Union ship looks like this got destroyed. I'm sure there are a lot of ground troops there. Most of them are Geonosians, which are sadly not part of the garrison I mentioned earlier, but you still have and this thing is pretty, it's not really the greatest. It's not very maneuverable, obviously. Sure, it packs a powerful punch. What good is that when you can easily get bombarded with the enemy troops? So there's another Techno Union ship. They have quite a few of these Techno Union ships. I wonder how the Techno Union... I know the Techno Union runs on dial-up internet, which is probably why these people lost the war. Spoiler alert, the bad guys don't win this war, they lose. Oh, because of dial-up internet, which dial-up internet was actually pretty cool, if I remember correctly. It made that cool sound. It was logging into your phone line. And sometimes it's actually better than the internet we have today, I think. I wonder how it would be like if we were to use Zoom or Skype or things like that with dial-up. I wonder how that would work. So there, we destroyed another Techno Union thing, and now we're going to take on the other one here too. And then after this battle will pretty much be in the bag. It'll only be a matter of time before they fly the white flag to us, because they lost. They lose. Look, I'm just standing here, just shooting at it, and that super battle droid thinks he can make a difference by destroying me. Even though it's not going to do anything to me, because, this is risk missiles don't really do an awful lot of damage. They've destroyed all of them now. It's all the Techno Union ships. So now they can't spawn as many troops now. So it's time for us to go in there and fight off the rest of them. And capture a command post. We actually have quite a bunch of command posts over them, actually. So yeah, we actually do have a good advantage. I think the more command posts you have, the more troops you can spawn on the battlefield at a time. And you want to have as many troops as you can on the battlefield at a time, because it makes it easier to win. So I'm going to take over this command post. And here there's a planning section there where they're making some diabolical plans to rule the galaxy or something like that. I think they even have a prototype of the Death Star in there somewhere. Well, and as you can see, as usual, no one likes to help me capture the command post. So I'm just going to stand here by myself like an idiot and capture it, and maybe then I will, ooh, we lost another one. Why am I not surprised? They also suck at defending them too. I'm supposed to defend them too, but of course, what do you expect? The AI in this game is really stupid. I don't even think they actually seriously try to do anything. Their guns are pretty much made out of Play-Doh. They don't really do much to the enemy troops. They try to do what they can. But then again, I'm sure Play-Doh could kill off these battle droids easy, even though they're more durable than the ones in the movies. Okay, we're not doing that bad. Now we're really getting at this one. We have a good margin ahead of the enemy. So now, there, we captured the command post. This game came out about a year or so before Revenge of the Sith. So that's why there aren't really any references to Revenge of the Sith. Well, there kind of is one we'll see eventually, but there aren't really many Revenge of the Sith references in this game, because as I said, this game came out in 2004, before I knew about the cruel fate of Anakin Skywalker, the cruel fate of the Jedi, and the cruel fate of the Republic in general. Yep, that's how 2004 was. The last time we ever saw the good old side of Star Wars. That's before I really thought of Star Wars as being a dark and bloody franchise. I started to view it as that, mostly from Revenge of the Sith. But before then, I didn't really think of it as much as that. This is back when Star Wars still had its innocence. And Star Wars kind of died after Revenge of the Sith. as a franchise. It makes sense that Star Wars wouldn't really be around much anymore, wouldn't be relevant much anymore. So then naturally Disney goes ahead and buys it, and they pretty much reanimate its corpse and make it, into something else beyond recognition from when we knew it before. The newer Star Wars movies were quite disappointing for being made by Disney. I think Disney buying Star Wars may have been a mistake. It's how much expanded universe there is of Star Wars. I'm pretty sure that George Lucas or people who own Star Wars could have made something better than what Disney has come up with. I don't even trust Disney as much anymore, mostly because Disney is, they're very discriminatory people in terms of what the kinds of stuff they do with their animation and the kinds of stuff that they believe and stuff like that. I was going to write about it in a book. I'm writing a book soon called Attack on Animation. It's a book that puts pretty much a big, long attack on the animation industry. It pretty much talks about why the corporate animation industry is fraud and why it's wrong and why it's bad and why you should, it's pretty much a big book on why corporate animation sucks. And we should believe in indie animation companies like CI Squared Entertainment. I'm a member of that firm, the CI Squared Entertainment firm. I'm quite proud of what they do. I even joined some other animation firms too, thanks to Discord. I love Discord. Discord is starting to rule over my life. I have a Discord server. I might put a link to it and an invite link to it in the description of this video, possibly. Which I encourage all of you that you have not joined yet to join my Discord server. It's not an overly busy server, but that's actually good. I don't like servers that are overly busy. Well, it depends on what kind of server it is, but sometimes it can be really annoying when a Discord server is overly busy with stuff that has nothing to do with you. You constantly get pinged every 5 seconds over useless, nonsensical crap. But thankfully, my server doesn't have any of that in it. So, if you don't like servers that are constantly pinging you, go join my server, the Ray Phoenix's server. I quite recommend it. I also have plans to do more writing works lately in general. I'm still writing that novel of mine called The Man-Child. It's pretty much a novelization of the life and times of Chris Chan with a fantasized twist on it, I guess you could say that. And I still have a lot of ideas for my Jason and Mason series and Ivan's War and Odyssey of Oddities. I just came up with some more ideas, things like that too, thanks to some of my biggest fans. I give a shout out to some of my biggest fans, such as Supotown70 or Creating Creator on DeviantArt. He's a big fan. He's probably my biggest fan of my work right now. And he's made that comic Supremo Life, so I recommend checking that out too. And yes, I'm grateful for all the fans I have on the internet. I'm glad I have a lot of them and a lot of people that, it's good to connect to people. It's really helpful since I can't really see much people in real life anymore. I've been in school for the last 4 consecutive semesters. My brain is on the urge of breaking. And all I have, the only real social interaction I have with people now is through Discord. So yeah, some people might say that's kind of sad. My mom doesn't even understand Discord very well. I don't even think my mom knows what Discord is, really. I think it's way better than Facebook. I think it's Facebook accused me of child pornography once, but Discord never did any of that to me. So that's part of the reason why I like Discord a lot more. I have a reason to like Discord more than Facebook. And so we pretty much have this battle won, as I just said before. It's only a matter of time before they surrender, so we're going to have to take over this command post again. I think the Geonosians may have taken over this command post too. I think Geonosians can take over command posts if I'm not mistaken. This time around we have a whole army of clones to back us up. Clones, send in the clones. And Geonosis in this game in Battlefront 2, it's only available in Clone Wars Battle, but Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, the PSP, they actually made it so you could play in the Galactic Civil War era, which is the original trilogy era in the Clone Wars. One of the biggest things people really didn't like about the newer Star Wars Battlefront, the one from 2015, was that it doesn't have any Clone Wars in it. It's just the original trilogy era. It makes no references to the newer Disney Star Wars movies either. That's because that game came out in 2015, which happened to be the same year that Star Wars Episode 7 came out. It came out a little before Star Wars Episode 7, so that may have had something to do with that. I remember they were selling Star Wars Battlefront, the newer one, for PS4 and Xbox One, at that store I worked at. That store I used to work at, a game store. A store that got broken into quite a few times. It was a good store. The owner was kind of flaky, but he had kind of a right to be like that. It was his brainchild. The store was his brainchild, and it died. It was the one thing he liked more than anything else, and his store got taken from him. So, yes, we won. Again, here as you can see, this is Ray Phoenix signing out.